Hello, this is Adam with DreamMade Productions. This video is made possible by the very kind donations of viewers like you. Thank you. If you are in a position to help this channel improve quality and grow, please visit my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/DreamMadeProductions, linked below.
It is the 31st century, and mankind is once again at war. The battlefields of the future are dominated by huge robotic war machines known as battle mechs.
Hello. With the overwhelming success of the BattleTech Mercenaries Kickstarter, and all the new minis that have been announced, I thought it would be fun to look over the minis I have with me here to film. Like a number of people, I keep my minis in these cheap but effective tackle trays. As I've mentioned several times on my channel, I have several more trays along with what box sets and books I have left still in storage. The good news is some I now know exactly where they are, safe and sound in a closet. Sadly, others are still MIA. While we wait on all the goodies from Catalyst's latest Kickstarter, please join me as I give you a little tour of my BattleTech toys and my unscripted thoughts on them. Alright guys, got the last two boxes here to look at. Got a little bonus over here, mostly clan stuff, a few other little odds and ends, and a little something special to show you. So let's go ahead and open these up and take a look. First up, I have 2 stars of Elementals. These are the ones that obviously came with the Clan Invasion box set. Very nice. Not a whole lot of detail on them, but they're so tiny that you can't really have a lot of detail. What's on there looks really good, and it's nice to finally have these kind of cheap and easily available. I haven't played a lot with Elementals, honestly. I think I maybe played with them once and probably made mistakes with the rules with them. I've had a couple people put them down, but not many. I like them, I just haven't had much experience with them, and people that I've played with didn't really have minis for them and didn't play them. So my experience with them is very, very limited. I know they can be really effective if they can get in and really tear into a mech, and their lore is very, very interesting. So all in all, pretty good mini. Certainly better than the metals that were expensive, so it's nice to have a cheaper alternative. And all things said, they look really good considering how absolutely tiny these guys are. Next up, I have a Fire Moth. Dasher, I think, is its Inner Sphere name. I think maybe I've played this thing once. I never had this one and never really played it much back in the day. This is the first time I've owned one. I can say from Mech Warrior 2 that I played it quite a bit in that game. This thing was really fast and really fun to play, especially since you die really quick. It's a good mini. It's got lots of detail on it. I'm not sure if I like this one better than the old Fire Moth mini. I didn't have it, but other people did. I'm kind of torn. From my memory, which is never a good thing to rely on, but I think this model is more detailed. There seems to be more detail in this model than what I remember one that a buddy of mine had.
So I like that. It is, I think, a little more blocky, so I don't know. I'd have to get one of the old metals and compare them to see which one I like better. As far as the mech itself, I mean, it's hard to beat this thing for just straight out speed. So, and as a clan mech, it carries some bullcrap weapons on it too. So it can hurt a mech that's a medium. It can put some pain down on some people. Next up, I believe this is the Puma. I mix this one, and I think it's the Adder up all the time. Very nice. I think this is the one from Mech Warrior 3. I remember with the really light mech that had the 2 clan PPCs that would overheat really easily. Kind of a lighter version of the A Nova, which is one of my favorite clan mechs. Lots of good detail on it, and beautiful mech, even if I can never get down which one's which. Next up, I have the Viper. I had honestly never played or had a Viper played against me before getting this one. I played it a time or two in videos and messed around with it some. I gotta say, I kind of like it. It's quick. It carries pretty good firepower. The model is really nice. It's got that clan, almost aircraft feel to it that a lot of clan mechs have. So really like that. The Mini's nice, and I don't have a lot of experience with it, so I do have fun playing around with it. Alright, next we have the other one that I constantly mix up. I think this one is the Adder. Could be wrong. I always get those two backwards because I see the top, and they both have kind of the flat top, and I always get confused because they look, at least to my eye, very similar. And I have been known to get them backwards before. I think this is the Puma, and I think this is the Adder, but if I'm wrong, I'm sure you guys will let me know. All in all, another great clan mech. The reverse legs there, and lots of detail to it. Very nice to have in the clan invasion stuff. Next up, I have the Grendel. Nice mini. Like the big gun on the side there. It looks, very, looks more Inner Sphere to me. This looks like something that would be the Inner Sphere, but nope, it's a clan mech, and I can honestly say I never played one of these, and had never had one of these played against me. I think I've played one game with it. It's just something that I need to have more experience with. The model is really detailed, and like I said, this thing looks great. It looks more like an Inner Sphere clan, or Inner Sphere mech to me. So to me, that's a big plus. Looks like something I could throw down with my Inner Sphere stuff and it would fit right in. Next up, we have the Shadow Cat. This is another one that I remember from Mech Warrior 3 and, of course, Mech Warrior 4. That Gauss rifle can be absolutely devastating. This is one of my favorite clan mechs to play as. You are fast. You can really put the hurt on somebody. It is just all around a great mech, and this is a great sculpt of it. Lots of detail. I mean, I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but Catalyst just did a really good job on these plastics. They have a lot of detail on them, and they look really, really good. Next up, you have probably one of my favorite mechs for the clans, mostly because this thing was awesome in Mech Warrior 2. We have the Nova. Now, the Prime Nova is fine. I mean, it can really put a hurt on somebody, but my personal favorite has to be the Nova A. Those two PPCs, man, I mean, they just let you wail on somebody. You're fast enough to kind of be a sniper and stay away from people. And in MechWarrior 2, since this thing was cut so close to the ground, it could be really hard to hit, especially if you were staying back with those PPCs. You know, in MechWarrior 2, the PPCs moved really slow, and they did a lot of damage, it seemed like. So it was not the best for multiplayer, but if you were playing against the computer, it was almost like putting the game on easy mode, because you could really kind of like hide behind a hill and pop up, take a shot, back off. You know, this thing was a real pain. And if you put like ER large lasers in it so that you didn't have that slow moving PPC blast from MechWarrior 2, it made it a lot better. MechWarrior 3, I remember running around with this thing. It wasn't quite as good. They made its hitbox a little bigger, but it was still a pain in that, and it just looks cool. Gotta say, if I was piloting a clan mech, I would probably want this thing in its A configuration, or maybe a few little changes to it, but those two clan PPCs and being that low cut to the ground and that hard to hit, oh, definitely one of my favorites. Next up, I have a Stormcrow. Gotta love the Stormcrow. This is another one that I have fond memories of from MechWarrior 2. Sure, it's been in other games since then, but I don't remember it from anything other than MechWarrior 2. It was a good mech. It just got overshadowed by the Nova for me. I found it on the tabletop. It's a little more fun to play than in MechWarrior 2. All in all, a good mech and a good sculpt of it. Again, lots of detail. Really looks good. Got a Hellbringer here. I'm pretty sure this was in MechWarrior 2. I don't think I played it very much. I more remember this thing from MechWarrior 4 with its Omni slot. Seemed like it got blown out a lot. The missile launcher, I believe. This thing playing on the tabletop, I have played it a couple times. You've got to be real careful on your heat. This thing can heat up really quick. But if you use it right, you can really put a hurting on somebody. It's a good sculpt for it. Again, lots of detail. And it's really nice to have these in plastic now. Next up, I have me a Mad Dog Vulture. Again, remember this thing from MechWarrior 2 and MechWarrior 3 and that opening video of MechWarrior 4. The biggest thing I remember about MechWarrior 4 is never put anything in this little chin gun. Whatever you put there will somehow die immediately. It just, for some reason in MechWarrior 4, man, those little Omni slots would get blown off right away. So I think I ended up taking whatever weapons were there and just removing them. This thing is really good at just lobbing LRMs downrange, and it's got enough firepower on it that even if you get up on it, it can still put a hurting on you. It's got some interesting alternate configurations. Would like to see one with the Gauss rifles. I don't know if they've made a Catalyst has made a version of it for that or not. But if they do, I'll have to look into getting it. Next up, I have a trio of Mad Cats. As you can see, there are slight differences in all three of them. One, I believe, is from the Legendary Collection. One's from Wolf's Dragoons. And one of them is, of course, from the box set. Now, I couldn't tell you which is which. The Mad Cat Timberwolf is one of my favorite looking mechs of all time. In fact, when I try to describe Battletech to people, the Mad Cat is one of the mechs that I just pulled for somebody to look at and see how awesome it is. It just has a little bit of everything. Machine guns, lasers, missiles, and it just looks like a futuristic war machine. They did a great job on the sculpt. Again, plenty of detail on this thing. Can really get in there and see, the individual missiles and everything. They just did an awesome job. I did have other Mad Cats. I had the one from the City Tech box set, but it's with my other clan stuff that's missing, and it was still a fine piece of plastic to put down, but this thing is just, this mini is far superior to that one in every way. It's just, if the camera will cooperate, it's just absolutely beautiful. Next up, I have a pair of Summoners, Thors. Again, this is another one that I remember from MechWarrior 2. Real big Jade Falcon mech. This thing is really fun to play on the tabletop. It's one of the few mechs that you just don't have to worry about heat. It's good for new players. If you're introducing somebody at the clan level, I always suggest, of course, starting with intro rules and slowly introducing new rules from there. But if somebody's really raring to go and they want to play a clan mech, this is where I start people. It's real simple. You just fire your guns and move around, and really, for the most part, you don't have to worry about heat. It's a beautiful mech. Really reminds me, of course, of the Thunderbolt with its, asymmetric design and the cockpit being over to the side. I'm sure that's what they had in mind, that the clans took inspiration from the Thunderbolt. This thing is just, it's a really mean mech in its prime configuration. Its other configurations are good too, but just being able to just sit there and shoot and not really worry about heat or anything is great. It's very mobile for its size. It's got pretty decent armor. This thing is just a pain, and I see why the Falcons like it so much. Next up, I have a pair of Gargoyles. We've got one in its standard configuration. Again, lots of detail, looks really good. Can't say I play these very much. They're just too lightly armed for how big they are. Good, mobile, kind of the successful take on the Charger idea of a big, heavy, fast mech. But it only really kind of works with clan technology, and in my opinion, not so well even then. Got the alternate version here, and I just have it, never played with it yet. I'm going to have to put this thing down in one of the videos. Next up, have a Warhawk. This is probably one of the most dangerous clan mechs. I mean, those 4 PPCs, man. Oh my God. People have put these down. This was one of the first mechs I ever faced back in the day as a kid when the clans came out and people started putting them down. Oh my God. To go from 3025 technology to have somebody put down clan mechs, and this was one of the first ones I ever ran into, and to just take, 60 damage in one round. Oh, it was devastating. Oh, this thing just gives me PTSD, man. Playing it is a fun mech to play. You can really put the pain down with this thing. And if you get to be able to sit in the back and just shoot, you win. If you can just get several rounds of this thing just popping off those PPCs, man, you're going to tear up almost anything that you can come up against. It's a beautiful mini, and it is really nice to have one of these now so that I can turn the tables. Next up, I have a pair of Executioners. Man, these things are beast. Jump up on somebody with this thing and just blow the crap out of them. I know I played this thing some in MechWarrior 2, and once you got in, it was just devastating. I actually don't see these on the tabletop as much as I thought I would. Yeah, I've only played against them a couple times. I've played one, I think, twice on the tabletop. Again, I didn't have this one back in the day, so I'm looking forward to getting down and playing this more. It is just that Ultra AC-20, man, ouch. Next up, I have a pair of Dire Wolves. Now, I have the classic Dire Wolf in its prime configuration here. Beautiful mech. Lots of detail. This thing just looks big and heavy, yet fast somehow with that kind of cone nose on it. This would not be my first choice in Assault Mechs. Its weapon system mix is just too kind of odd for me. I like my Assault Mechs to have like lots of heavy weapons, a couple heavy weapons, and the ultra auto cannons, the lasers are just too many different weapons, in my personal opinion. But still a very good mech and terrifying on the battlefield. The other one is the Widowmaker, Natasha Kerensky's mech. This one came from the Legends pack. Again, looks great, looks mean with that rotary autocannon there. Nice to have it. I have never played the Widowmaker. I've never had anybody throw it down. So one of these days I'll have to play it some and see what I think. Next up, I have my Comstar level 2. We've already looked at these in a prior video and given my thoughts on them, so I'll just kind of go through them really quickly. If you want a more in-depth, I'll have that linked above somewhere. I have these set out just because I haven't integrated them into the other ones yet, but it's really nice to have the old 2750 or 2730, whichever the other tech manual was that introduced all these Star League mechs, and to have them for Comstar and stuff. I never had any of these as a kid. These are all new, and the one that I'm probably most connected to is the Sentinel, remembering it from MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries. And the Highlander was good. And of course, having played the expansion to MechWarrior 4, the Black Knight, though he kind of, looks a little weird to me because I got so used to him having that kind of shield on his arm from the video game, but still, this one looks more like the old one, and they didn't change too terribly much, so definitely a big favorite. Like I said, if you want a more in-depth look at all these, just take a look at that video and where I opened up the level 2. Next up, I have a Regent and a Wraith. Put these aside because, mostly I play in 3025, so ones that aren't available in 3025 I try to kind of keep separate. Been told this is from the 32nd century, so I still haven't played the Regent yet. One of these days I'll have to throw it down. It's probably going to be a while. I just don't go that far in the future very much. The Wraith is another one that I have little to no experience with. One of these days I'll have to get to it. It's a nice sculpt. I've just never played the mech, and I don't know if I've ever had anybody throw it down against me. I don't think so, maybe once, but it wouldn't surprise me if I've never played it and never played against it. Alright guys, I got some kind of special things to show you. I have 2 customized Victors. Now, this Victor I picked up at, I believe, a yard sale or something. They're both pretty much the same. They're both originally from that City Tech box set, and what someone has done is they've used green stuff or clay or something to kind of thicken him up some and add some additional guns to him. So I don't put these down very much because, you know, they're not in any configuration that I'm aware of, but I do keep them because they do look really cool. Obviously I can't recognize what version of the Victor this is. I don't know if it's something somebody just did, but whoever did it was talented. The paint job, at least to me, looks pretty good, and where they sculpted it looks pretty mean. And yeah, I'd be concerned if I saw a Victor coming up with not only his AC-20 and missile rack and stuff, but also like 3 large lasers or autocannons or something. Yeah, that'd be kind of scary. Now, people ask me why I don't paint my mechs. Part of that is I just don't have the time. Part of that is I'm not the best at painting. But this is one mech that I did paint. This is a catapult from the Plastech set. Years ago, I sat down and did the best job I could painting this thing to be in Black Knight colors, with the black and gold there. Yeah, I mean, I'm not good at doing all the little washing where they make it real, make all the detail pop out. I can't do the jeweling where they make the cockpit look like it's, you know, actually in sunlight and stuff. People have told me that it still looks pretty good to just throw down on the table, and, you know, I am pretty proud of it. But yeah, I just don't have the time or skill to really put into it. Next up, I thought we would take a look at my repair box. This is stuff that I'm working on, broken minis that I started painting and never finished, and just kind of random crap in there. So I figured we'd look through that real quick as kind of a bonus. First off, I have a metal Marauder, or at least part of him put together. This is one of the old Battle Droids Marauders, one of the big ones. Don't know if this is official or not. The bottom's pretty clean, but it feels kind of slick. I don't know. Anyway, I had this thing put together, and of course it got dropped at some point, and yeah, super glue came off and the arms and gun came off, and I got it put part of the way back together. It's just, man, the Marauder is probably my favorite mech. It's beautiful, but the old metal minis, man, they were a pain to put together. I have a metal rifleman that I was in the middle of painting and apparently never finished. Got down to his feet anyway. Another one that I kind of doubt is official. There's just no good markings at the bottom of it, but, you know, whatever. This was another one that's, you know, prone to falling apart and was something of an experiment. I tried using solder, electrical solder, to try to keep him together better. It, you know, created some little bad touches at the back where I put the solder, but it feels like it made it a little more secure. I don't know. The test will be whenever this thing falls off a table, but yeah, it's nice to have an unseen rifleman, and it looks good. Rifleman's Mech Warrior 1, man. It's hard for me to not be biased towards what got me into Battletech in the first place. Apparently, this was something that Jenny bought, and it broke off of its base. So one of these days I need to clean out all this gunk that's in here and scrape it off and pin it back and put our little anime or video game character back on her base. Next, I have a plastic Marauder, which is missing its gun. Again, this is one that I'm pretty sure is fake. I don't think a plastic Marauder ever came out back in the day. It's got some imperfections in it. Just kind of what you go when you buy stuff at flea markets and yard sales when you're 13 or whatever. This one is another one that I painted. Just a basic paint job, and you can see there where I tried to do the jeweling effect and I just suck at it. So all in all, like I said, I think I can paint them well enough to just throw down for a friendly match, but yeah, my painting skills, I'm not going to be winning any awards anytime soon. Got another longbow, like the other one. Painted it up black. One of these days I'll have to put it on a hex base and play with it. It's still got imperfections in the top of it, but looks a lot better than that other one. So it'll be replaced at some point. Next up, I have a Marauder, literally in pieces. This thing was one, I guess, I had it put together at one point, but again, falls off the table and explodes. This is how many pieces the old classic Marauder came in. Putting this thing together is a pain in the butt. And I love the Unseen Marauder, and I hate putting it together. Got a Plastech Valkyrie here. This is another one that I did a real quick paint job on. Part of the problem with this one is the paint I was using, the blue, sucks. It real thin, and even after several coats, it just came out in several different colors of blue. Oh, dropped it. And it's kind of already peeling off of it. So, yeah, won't be buying, what was it, Craft Mart or some shit from like a dollar store. Won't be getting those paints anymore. Next up, I have a trio of urban mechs. This one was one that I was painting. It's on a plastic 3D printed hex base. I guess it's more or less ready to go. Kind of going for kind of a night camouflage there. Some more things I'll touch up at some point. Need to kind of fill in the base some and repaint where it came off a little bit. Like I said, using crappy paint really didn't help matters any here. Got another one done in the same kind of style. Again, crappy green paint and a plastic hex base. Finally, another one trying to paint it, and as you can see, the paint is just kind of coming off of it. I'll have to clean these things off and just start all over again. Finally, I have a little project to work on at some point. I went ahead and bought the Timberwolf TC variant, the premium mini that Catalyst has on their website. Yeah, never played a TC, never had anybody play one against me. And why I bought this thing, I guess I was just wanting to be, punished, because this thing is in 8,000 pieces. I bought it thinking maybe it would come assembled like the other ones, but nope. Oh, well, at least I'll be able to put it together and tinker with it, and maybe I'll, if I have some time, I'll be able to enjoy putting it together and get it to stay. Other than that, just, things of super glue and a few other odds and ends here, including my old soldering iron from when I took computer repair long back in the day. Just tried to use some solder to see if I could keep the metals put together a little better, and it did not work the way I planned it, so solder is not the best decision. Need to find a really good way of getting these things together. Alright, and finally, I have a very special Mad Cat. What this thing actually is a Plastech catapult with Marauder arms on it. So I made this thing, as you can tell by all the dust and grime on it, a really long time ago. It was meant to kind of be a dig at clan people, and was really my inner sphere version of a Mad Cat. If anyone downloaded the Black Knights Independent Military Command source book, that's on the Dropbox that you get for signing up at the gamer level and above on Patreon, its stats and stuff are in there. Yeah, it's a fun mini. I did a basic paint job on it a long time ago. Never finished doing the full Black Knights black and gold color scheme. But all in all, it was a fun mech to play, and I like putting it down because it's literally a Mad Cat, and it's made a little differently than the classic clan version. So, fun. Alright, well, that's all the minis that I have with me here. Once the mercenary set comes out, we'll have to look at some more, and if I get any more sets, I'll do some opening videos. And if I ever find any of the other boxes that are in storage somewhere, I hope, then I'll open those up and show you some of my older clan mechs and some lambs and stuff that I really hope show up at some point. Anyway, thanks again, guys. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to entertain you. Looking forward to that Mercenaries Kickstarter release. And as always, I hope you enjoy the battle reps that are to come.
Hello, this is Adam with Dream Made Productions. Thank you for watching my content. It really means a lot that you have given me the chance to entertain you. If you would like to support the channel, please visit my Patreon at patreon.com/DreamMadeProductions, linked below. Also below is a link for PayPal, or links if you would like to send crypto, if that's more your thing. Please know any amount that you give will be cherished and used to upgrade equipment and improve the channel. You can also help the channel by subscribing, turning on notifications, liking, commenting, and sharing my channel with anyone you think might be interested. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you enjoy the battle reps that are to come.